I got some new lights. I'm very excited about it. All right, on the video. Hey guys, I'm AH Designs and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Now, a few years ago, I put out a video about tips for young cosplayers, and it did really well. It is still to this day one of the most successful videos on my channel. Now, there was a lot of comments and a lot of questions in the comment section of this video, so today we're gonna talk about one of those questions that kept popping up. Do you have any advice for cosplaying at school? Now, at first, I was not gonna dedicate an entire video to this subject because I'm not in school. I'm a cosplayer who is an adult. But then when I thought about it, well, a lot of my early years in cosplaying, I was in school. I started cosplaying in middle school and cosplayed all throughout high school and still cosplay to this day after college. And I've also literally cosplayed at school before. Like, I've worn full costume during the day at my school in high school. So I guess I can actually give some advice. Now, all these tips are gonna come from my personal experiences and advice that I have based on them. I can't give too many tips because every school is gonna be a little bit different about different rules and such like that. And again, these are advice. They're not rules. You can decide to follow the advice or you can decide to do your own thing. That's totally cool. Remember, I am not an adult cosplayer specifically giving you rules that you need to follow. And without further ado, let's get into the actual advice. So tip number one, save cosplaying for special occasions. Oftentimes when you first get into this hobby, you're gonna be really excited and want to cosplay all the time. I know I did. But often it is actually better to save cosplaying for special occasions at school. That's one reason I'm doing the video right now, because Halloween is this week and I know a lot of you will probably be cosplaying at school, and Halloween is a perfect occasion if you are allowed to wear costumes at school. But this can also count for different spirit days. If your school does spirit days like dressing in your school colors or other days, I know my school had a lot of very different spirit days throughout the year. Easter, we'd have days where you're supposed to dress in all pastels. Around Christmas, red and green. All these different occasions, and a lot of times they let you go all out on these days if they're anything like my school was. It's the perfect excuse to cosplay at school and a lot of fun, and no one will complain about you being in cosplay because they just think you're really getting into the school spirit thing when really you're using it as an excuse to cosplay. I did this several times. We had Nerd Day for anti-bullying once, and I showed up in full Jade Harley cosplay from Homestuck because not only does she look like your stereotypical nerd, but she's also from like a thing. So like I'm cosplaying a character who looks nerdy. You can't get much more nerd than that. Honestly, that's a bit of a weird spirit day in the grand scheme of things looking back on it, but hey, I still got to cosplay Jade Harley at school. Now, you might be like, oh, but that's no fun to only cosplay on spirit days, but that's because a lot of times on regular school days, your regular old Tuesday, the teachers may deem your cosplay as being too distracting. I've seen a lot of teenagers get in trouble for cosplaying at school for this very reason. Everything's too colorful, too out there, too out of the box, or maybe something inhuman like coming to school in full body makeup. And it's not just distracting for the other classmates, but it is also distracting for you because you're trying to maintain your cosplay and everything. At a con, that's a little bit more expected, but when you're at school, it's a little bit different. And also, if you save it for days that are like spirit days, then you're not going to be putting yourself out there too much because everyone else will also likely be out there wearing all sorts of colorful things and getting into school spirit. And it's not just special occasions, but maybe also special projects. Drama class is the best place to incorporate your cosplay into. Oh my gosh, my teachers really liked when I incorporated cosplay stuff into whatever projects, whether it was a video project, something in class. Those are the perfect moments. You might even get bonus points for doing it. And this is also a really good way to keep yourself from getting picked on, because if everyone else is also dressed loudly while you're cosplaying because it's a spirit day or it's a drama class thing, then you're not creating essentially a target on your back. Again, this might be different at different schools where depending on where you are. I was from a little middle of nowhere country school where there was 250 students. When I showed up in full cosplay, it would have been noticeable. I was the only one in my drama classes who would incorporate cosplay stuff. I brought my cosplays to school to wear in our drama productions. But if I had done it on just a regular old day, I think I probably would have gotten a little picked on. Let's put it this way, kids and teenagers can be absolutely brutal and school can be absolutely brutal. And I personally don't want that for any of you, my fellow young cosplayers. And if you do really want to cosplay on a non-special occasion day at school, closet cosplay or Disney bounding or the equivalent of Disney bounding is perfect. Making an outfit based on a character, such as, for example, someone who really likes The Little Mermaid wearing green jeans, a purple top, and maybe putting a red bow in their hair to represent Ariel. Things like that are a very clever way to kind of feel like you're cosplaying without necessarily being in full costume. Tip number 2, stay within the school's dress code. I know that school dress codes are awful and they particularly pick on people who are female presenting. Like, some of the rules just make no sense, and we all don't like dress codes. If you are in a full costume and also breaking dress code at the same time, you're putting a big target on your back from the actual school itself. Some people might be able to get away with a little bit of their tummy showing or a little bit of their shoulders showing kind of thing on a regular day, but if you are also dressed in cosplay while wearing a crop top, for example, if your school has the no bellies showing rule, mine did, then you're really pointing that out. You're really taking attention to the dress codes that you have broken. And cosplay is not something worth getting a suspension or potential expulsion over. So if your school says that tummies, shoulders, cleavage, or too much leg should not be showing, stick to the cosplays that follow these rules. There are a lot of characters out there. I've given past examples before, but My Hero Academia characters, like the ones from their school uniforms, are perfect for this. Think of outfits that fit within the dress code as well. As much as we all want to stick it to the man, so to speak, and protest these dress codes, because honestly they are very outdated, we know that. Cosplay is not the best way to do so. If anything, it's a very loud way to put a target on your back by the actual school, especially if you have any teachers that are a little prickly around the edges. We all know not all teachers are sunshine and rainbows. I had some amazing teachers, but there are also always teachers who are willing to pick on and target certain students, and unfortunately this is a way that they could potentially zone in on you. And again, I don't want that for you guys. This is something I always did. Both my Jade Harley cosplay and my Princess Daisy cosplay that I also wore on Halloween one year, both followed this rule. Everything that needed to be covered was covered, everything like that. This also goes for depictions of gore, sexual activity, etc. Some characters have different slogans on them. Like if a character has a big swear word on the back of their jacket or something, I'm thinking of a few in particular, or if the character is covered in blood. These are not good options because that can go against dress code as well for being too much. And a lot of dress codes do have rules against depictions against these things. Tip number 3, don't wear your super big and super expensive cosplays to school, even on those special days like Spirit Days and Halloween. We all know cosplay can be super expensive, whether you're making it or buying it, and they can also become very large and cumbersome very quickly. I was lucky my Princess Daisy was a very soft petticoat, so I was still able to fit in a desk while wearing it, which was a very important measure for me. If you can't fit in a desk for maybe the first half of the day where you're still doing classwork or something like that, then it's not a very good cosplay to wear at school. And also if you're distracted by trying to keep it all up to date and such, like adjusting your wig, your big wig constantly or something of that nature, or you're wearing something super big that will block the view from someone else at the spirit activity or in class, etc. And also, the average person at your school probably will not be expecting a big extravagant cosplay. So even if you want to go and wear your biggest cosplay to show what you can do, it might not be the right target audience to appreciate it. At a convention, everyone appreciates a really nice cosplay, a really big cosplay, and all of that. That is the right target audience to bring these big costumes to. At school dances for Halloween or stuff like that, people just want to have fun in costume, but it's not the same kind of thing that we do in cosplay. These days often have activities associated with them, whether it's apple bobbing on Halloween, or I don't know, my school did all sorts of crazy things, not gonna lie. We had some weird like physical activities. We also had like eating contests, and we also had like athleticism contests that you would all do while in your Spirit Day or Halloween costumes. So you don't want to wear something that stops you from doing these activities if you want to get involved in those activities. And also if you're going in thinking, well, I'm gonna wear this big costume that I made by hand and I'm gonna win first prize at school at least, tell you from experience that doesn't often happen. Usually it's whoever's in the funniest costume, whoever's the most popular, whatever it might be, even if there is a category for self-made costumes. This is not coming from a place of personal experience, I swear. This is a call-out post to myself, because this definitely happened to me. I was like, well, I'm in like a nice, really nice costume that I made myself. I'm gonna probably win something at the Halloween costume contest at school. Nope, I didn't. But yeah, your fellow classmates, the other students at the school are not the primary target audience for your cosplay. They won't appreciate it as much. And you also don't want to potentially get your really big, very expensive costume ruined at school, whether it's because someone spilt a drink on it or something like that. Cosplay is expensive and we want to keep those nice cosplay costumes safe. So these are my primary 3 main tips for wearing cosplay at school. I know this isn't super in detail, but it also really depends on where in the world you are and what kind of school you're at. All schools are a little different, especially all around the world. Again, this is coming from a place of my personal experience from when I was a teenager and cosplayed at school. I had a lot of fun on the days where I did get to incorporate cosplay either into my projects or into spirit days. Sometimes I wouldn't participate too much in spirit days, and some of my classmates and other schoolmates would actually be disappointed that I didn't come in something more like dressed up. But yeah, I can't know what every school is like. I can't know what all the other students in your school are like. And in the end, it's going to be your judgment call on whether or not certain situations are a good time to cosplay at school. I hope these tips have been helpful. I hope you remember to like, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And I hope you have an awesome Halloween. I hope those of you who are cosplaying at school this year have a really, really fun time. And I guess I'll see you in the next video. See you guys later.